I stumbled onto a major company conspiracy here. This right here is episode 7. Let's talk about episode 7. Can we please talk about episode 7? I've been dying to talk about episode 7 all day, okay? This name right here, Abel, keeps coming up all over the place. Abel. I tell myself, I gotta get to the bottom of this. I gotta find out who is Abel. His name keeps getting mentioned all over the place. Who really is Abel? Is this guy Abel? Is he an NPC? I don't know. We're gonna find out, okay? We're gonna find out. Spoiler warning for episode 7 and for the video game Soma. If you haven't played it, I suggest you play that. Alright, here's the main twist of the episode. Abel is actually an NPC, as Cain claims, and he was lying about everything, and it was just an adventure. But let me disprove that for a second. Okay, Cain, obviously, not reliable at all. He's had so many glitches in the past. Not to mention the fact that he is very impulsive, and he has had he has had a little motivation, but not really in the past couple episodes. He's just said, go do whatever, here is guns. He is impulsive. Now, why would he wait multiple episodes, days on weeks on months, to bring this character, this NPC that he apparently planted, to light? Why would he wait that long when he's been craving, starving any recognition from the team, and he saves this adventure that he's been plotting out for this? I don't believe it. I don't buy it. Cain is not the type that would have made this, okay? This man, Abel, as we'll call him, he's not the Abel of Cain and Abel, but Abel has been lurking in the shadows multiple episodes. Somehow, I think he has just stayed out of Cain's sight, and I think that he was a real person. Because Cain, I just don't think this is a type of adventure that he would create, okay? And you might think, well, maybe it is, okay? Maybe he's trying something new. I don't know. How do we know? I have some other points, too, that will maybe help this conspiracy theory. So, first of all, let's look at this, okay? A lot of people point out how when Cain says goodbye to Abel, he snaps and whatever, he's gone. There's a bit of confetti, like normal NPCs. There's a little bit of confetti, but not really like normal. And he also does his glitch, and he's blue, and he goes, ah! I don't think that's very NPC-like. So I think Cain just killed Abel. I think, like the Bible, he has just killed this programmer, this innocent programmer, who was trying to lead them out, okay? And you might think, well, M1, what are we saying here? Did you not see the note at the beginning? And did you not see Abel's drawing of a bee? Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about the drawing of the bee. So we have a bee here. We don't know why Cain is obsessed with bees. Was it a programmer that was obsessed with bees and somehow it got into the code? I don't know. Was it Abel who was obsessed with bees also? Is there something about the bees that's important? I really don't know. Let's assume that it's not, and it's just a Cain thing, okay? So this drawing, of course, the map that was made, has a bee in the corner. If you go pause the episode, you can see a drawing of the bee. So by that point, I think Cain has already infiltrated Abel, but I don't think it was like this from the start of the episode. I think Cain, now we don't know if Cain can actually control people or just plant things in their minds. We don't know what abilities he has yet when it comes to that. But Cain could have just taken over Abel's mind or put in all of this, like, I really don't know how Cain could have done this. But Cain had to have drawn this map, or at least helped, I think, because of the bee. I would assume, unless they found this like semi-blank paper with the bee already drawn on it. I don't really know how this exactly works, but somehow I think by this point, Abel has already been spotted out by Cain, and he is not himself anymore. He is under Cain's control to a certain extent. How far that goes, I don't know. But I think when we see him behind the rock here, he's still hiding. That's the last time we see him actually hiding, and I think that's because Cain doesn't know he exists yet. But I think that when he goes into this room, and they say, let's go into the Chinese room while they're talking in the hallway, there are so many eyes that it points at on all the paintings. Cain has seen him now, and he is done. I think that's when Cain notices him. He's done. He's cooked. From then on, half the things he's saying maybe can't be trusted. I gotta say also, like, the pods that they're apparently in, how exactly would that work? If it's an abandoned building, because many of them have memories, I think, of urban exploration, or at least, like, selling, I think one of them was real estate, selling an empty building. I don't think this company is up and running. I think this is an empty, broken down building, like we've seen in Pomni's illusion of the exit, if you think it's an illusion, which I don't know. I don't think these pods are likely. Who would have transported them into the pods after they put the headset on? Who would be maintaining these pods? Why, if they saw the pods, why would they ever go into one? There's just so many questions. It doesn't make any sense where these pods would be, how they would be up and running, how they would, I don't think that is. My theory, to be honest, is that, and I'm not going to talk about like why I think this, other than, I'm going to touch on it a little, but I think that it is a Soma-like situation where they put the headset on, maybe, their consciousness and a version of themselves were uploaded into the circus. I don't know what happened, and then they took it off. So the real Pomni is out there in the world, unaware that this version of herself and all of these others are trapped in the circus. That's what I think. I don't know. There's not really, I don't have evidence really for this, except for that the pod situation. There's just no situation. If we're talking real world terms, there could obviously be like some Jumanji situation wherein like they get sucked into the game, and if that is the case, then obviously like their bodies would have gone in. But if they put on the headset and their bodies were still in the real world, how come none of them saw the other bodies that were in there, or even skeleton or bones, anything? Even if you say maybe they were decayed, they would have seen something, right? I also think just one more thing that kind of, I guess, helps this is that when we see right here, Pomni's first day is Kaufmo abstracting, and we see kind of Kaufmo abstracts and Pomni takes the 6th place member. I think they only have 6 players at a time. I think this has been established that they only have 6 players at a time. And the thing is, what are the chances that Pomni puts on the headset the day that Kaufmo is abstracted? I think that perhaps, this is just something that's like been in my mind. There's no evidence whatsoever for this except for the weird timing, but maybe people have put on this headset and there is just a queue of consciousnesses ready to join the circus. I don't know exactly what the rules are yet, so it's tough to say that this is like, it's tough to give any evidence towards this theory, but what are the chances that Pomni puts on the headset the exact same day that Kaufmo dies? I don't know. It just seems like Kaufmo abstracts, and then Pomni, consciousness, comes back from the queue and gets put into the circus so that Kane has 6 participants. That's just what I'm thinking. Not going to touch on that anymore because that was not in the episode and that's just my thoughts. Alright. Yo, small editor's note here. I just want to say before we move on from this topic, at the end of the series, what if the reason they all make peace with their stagnant lives inside of the circus and they don't leave, assuming that they don't leave, what if the reason for this is that they figure out that there is a queue of people behind them and that actually, if they leave, more people will come into the circus and they will be left there in their places? Maybe they decide to make peace because they are going to save the people after them from the same fate. This is just a theory though. A game theory. So I think from this point on, Chinese room and everything, half the stuff that Abel says can just be thrown out the window. I don't think any of this, really, there's no way to know if anything he's saying is true or not. We also see what might seem untrustworthy and might tell the audience this man is untrustworthy, is that he has Dream's face. Dream, the Minecraft YouTuber. Hold on a second. What is Dream known for? Lying in Minecraft. Lying in Minecraft. Take that in. Just take that. Alright, let's keep going. One thing I want to ask before I go any further, do you think Kane is evil or just misguided? Or doesn't have it in him to care about the circus members? I don't think he cares about any of them. I think it's clear in the therapist scene with Zubul that he literally cannot comprehend human feelings, and all he cares about is himself and like his self-worth and his ego or whatever. But I don't know if that necessarily makes him evil, and I don't know if it even matters. That's the whole thing. Does it matter if he's torturing all these consciousnesses or people? Does it matter what his intentions are? Let me know your thoughts, because I've been thinking about that one. Now, speaking of Kane, we did see this scene with Jax. We saw the scene with Jax, and there was Ribbit reaching out in Jax's hand. Was it a digital hallucination? Was it all in Jax's mind? We haven't really seen the other characters do anything like this, where they hallucinate like this, but of course we haven't really seen them like kind of go into abstraction like Jax clearly was. You would think maybe at least we would see Kanger have these hallucinations, although we haven't really seen like from his POV. I would like to think that actually this is Kane pushing for Jax's abstraction. I don't know the motive behind it, but it's clear that he wants him gone, right? Is that just me that thinks that? So I don't think this was Ribbit somehow reaching up from the cellar. I think that was Kane's hand. And for that one, I don't know why. I'm trying to process why. Why take advantage of Jax like this? Is it because he's vulnerable? Is it because he's like the least affected, apparently, by the circus, which I don't think he is, but that's what vibe he gives off. I think he's forcing abstraction, clearly, because Jax was going to abstract. We see that in his eyes when he wakes up. Then that also leads to the fact that Kane is pushing memories into Jax's mind. Like, when there's the button, and Jax runs to hit it because he has these memories from Kane. Kane is trying so hard to make Jax hit that button. So hard. And here's the two scenarios. If the whole situation is fake, Kane did that to boost his ego, I guess. If it was fake, why would he try so hard and ruin and risk everybody finding out that he can manipulate their minds? Why would he do that if it was a fake adventure? It doesn't make sense. If it was real, I can see that, because then obviously he doesn't want them to escape. So that makes sense. But it just, I mean, I can see the two motivations, but it just seems like overkill if it was actually an adventure. So I think those buttons were actually real. And it makes me think, can Kane press those buttons? Or is it only the players that can press those buttons? Because if this console has always been there, why hasn't Kane just pressed the button and gotten rid of it? It doesn't make much sense to me. Maybe after a certain period of time it comes back. But if they're looking for this console, it goes away and it has a blank screen after they press it. So why hasn't Kane just pressed that button? If it's real. Also, if it is fake, this is just cruel. This adventure is cruel. Also, if it's real, why would you let them get so close? This is something that I was thinking of. Like, if he has hijacked Abel, and if this is a real thing, why let them get so close to the button? And I think it's because Kane wants to play this off as fake so that they never go for that button again, because they do think that the button is fake and that they cannot escape. That's the only motivation I can think for Kane on why they let them get so close, because if Pomni had not hesitated, then they would have been gone. For the hesitation, let me turn back to that. Abel says make the right choice. And there's two possibilities here. Either Abel is lucid and he is saying, literally, make the right choice, the one on the right, please press that button, and making sure that Pomni knows how serious the situation is. A lot of people are saying that this line made Pomni realize that he was an NPC. But I don't think that's the case. I think Pomni was just having second thoughts and doubts, and it made her stop for a minute, because like, what does that mean? If someone says that to you, you're not gonna automatically, oh my god, that's an NPC. No, you're just gonna be, what does that mean? Is it a trick? Is something wrong here? Is, like, she didn't know what she was going into. If it's fake, I don't know, why would he say that? just to have them think about it and then maybe press the red button because like they realize that they actually like it here. I've seen some people say like it's like a dialogue option where he only has one dialogue to say, so he repeats himself. But I don't really think that is it, because there are so many NPCs, and how many of them just have one set dialogue for one set moment? They're not really programmed to have like dialogue sets. They're kind of just given personalities, I guess, and then they go free and they talk about like they just talk freely. So I don't really know if that makes sense to me, but maybe to you, I don't know. Anything that I'm saying, if you disagree with, please say it in the comments, because that will only help all of our collective theories. I feel like I'm going a little crazy here, but I think I'm on to something. All right, now I should probably talk about the Kinger situation. Why wouldn't Abel want Kinger in on everything? Did he really have a fight with Kinger? It's tough to say if that was something that actually happened or if that was just something Kane kind of put in his head. But if he put that memory in his head, I don't know what Kane can or can't do. So I don't know if that was real. But when Kinger says who, when they're telling him about Abel, he says who because I think he's just confused how another person got in the game. And obviously he's not going to know this dude. If he really knew him in real life, he's not going to know him by the name Abel. He's just not. So I think that's why he said who. It doesn't mean exactly that it's an NPC. I think Kinger was literally just confused by how this is happening. I also want to know if you recognize this hand, because he was going to tell Pomni something. When Pomni gave him the hand, first of all, is the hand real? I have no evidence to suggest yes or no, so I don't know. But it did lead them into the office, so. But who knows if that office was even real? There's so many questions, so little answers. I need the new episode so bad. Yeah, we can't really tell what Kinger was gonna say to Pomni when he was given that thing, because he goes out into the light, which is actually, I really like that scene, because we see kind of how he switches. I wonder what he was gonna say. Was he gonna recognize it? Was he gonna say, what the hell is this? I don't know. With Kinger and Abel, there's two scenarios that I think are possible, and I think it's one that Abel and Kinger do know each other. They had a weird fight, maybe involving Scratch, because, you know, he has the locket, and they are on really bad terms, and Kinger might fight him or something. I don't know. Or maybe Kinger did something wrong, and that's why Abel doesn't want to face him, because, you know, Kinger did say that he felt responsible for a lot of stuff. I think he said that in the gun episode. So I don't really know what happened, but I think that something did happen. On the other hand, if it was fake, then obviously Kane would not want Kinger in on it, because Kinger would just call bullshit right away. So that makes sense, I guess, for that. I'm still on the side that it was real though, and that Abel was, for the most part, telling the truth. I did talk about this like amulet or whatever it's called, the locket. There's also two options. I feel like there's two options for everything, and it just kind of depends on the person and what you think is correct, because there is two paths. Either it was real or it wasn't real, and everyone has their own opinions. But if it was real, I mean, we don't see the locket, so Kane could have switched it out. And even if he didn't switch it out, that hot dog is a reference to Scratch, the first abstraction, which makes me think something went down between Kinger, Abel, and Scratch. Maybe. I don't know. And obviously Kane. But that's just my thoughts on the locket. There's also a question I have, why was he a blank NPC? But I don't have any theories for that, no answers. So maybe something got jammed up in the queue. Maybe he has really been here before everyone. Maybe he was put in there as an admin, and he was an NPC character because he wasn't like supposed to be in the game. Maybe he was like testing bugs or something. I don't know how it works, but that's the only reason I can think about, like, think of why he is an NPC character, like a mannequin, because I don't know. Kane hasn't found him, given him a body, and he was maybe there for maintenance. That's it for that. Something I haven't talked about is the beach aspect of this beach beach episode, and that is these fish and the shrimp. Actually, I think the fish and the shrimp play a much more important role than we think. It's played off as like a funny little thing. It's lighthearted, you know, start of the episode, kind of still at the beach, nothing has happened yet, but I think it actually is way more important than we think. And I think when we watch the next couple episodes, the last 2 episodes, we will come back and realize this is really important. First of all, who stole his goddamn treasure? I don't know if that's important. I don't know if the treasure is important, but who stole it and why is it gone? I don't know. Was it his brother? I don't know. But somebody, we're not going into that. Somebody color corrected the scene of them in the water, and when you take away, like when you correct the image into like the colors that they would be without the blue water effect, it becomes very clear that the liar is the same color as Cain, and the fish who got all of his riches stolen, he is the color of Abel. And if we're thinking like classic riddles, one guy tells the truth, one guy lies, Abel would be the fish that tells the truth, at least his color is. So then, does that mean that Abel was really telling the truth? I would like to think yes. You could say that these are like random colors and maybe it doesn't mean anything, but I am never gonna say that when it comes to the Amazing Digital Circus. Everything has meaning in my eyes, and I think that I think that means something. I think that means literally that Cain lied about it. And maybe it's not everything. Maybe it's just that he lied about the button specifically and the adventure. But I think obviously, okay, Cain is the liar in this situation. If you're going off the colors, makes sense. Whoever figured that out and color corrected that, thank you so much. I saw it on TikTok, thank you for that. You might be thinking too, like, okay, you know what? These guys have an important role. What about the shrimp? What about the shrimp NPC? Thank you for asking. Thanks for asking, dude. Shrimp NPC, actually, also important, okay? Also important. Shrimp Town. Remember Shrimp Town, where they would be sent if they chose the wrong one? Well, let me tell you the horrors of Shrimp Town. Take a look at this. We have shrimp, and then we have cooked shrimp, so you can't really see it. But the shrimp got cooked, the shrimp got killed. If they chose the wrong button, would Cain get killed? Would all of the characters get killed with that version of themselves? All of those consciousnesses? Is that the plural? Would they get killed with the machine? Would everything just be done? I think so. I think that would kill everybody. That's what the button would do. It would kill them all. And I think that's the best solution for the gang. But let's think about this real quick. If we are going back to the fact that maybe it was an adventure, maybe, would Cain have killed them? Would Cain have killed them? Is that what that means? That Cain would have been so unhappy that he would have literally killed them and took the next 6 from the queue, if we're thinking about queue theory. I've got that on my mind. Just like I'm so invested in this like queue of consciousnesses theory for some reason. So just disregard that part if you don't believe that, but would he have killed them? Remember, was it Zubul that said Cain is only nice to us because he likes us? That would have been a horrible, considering that Jax has just hyped him up, and Cain was so happy receiving all of these compliments from Jax. If they switched up on him like that, I think he would have killed them, honestly. I think he would have been in such a mental state where either he would have abstracted and died himself, or he would have killed all of them. And I'm basing that off of one scene with a shrimp, but Bubbles says Shrimp Town. Again, these are just jokes that we're seeing, but I think they mean more. I think the NPCs mean more. Why put the shrimp NPC? Okay, I mean, they could have put it in for the joke, but why reference Shrimp Town here? The shrimp dies. There is no Shrimp Town. It's death. Alright, now that we've talked about shrimp, I have a few more things to backtrack on before I finish here. There are the photographs here, which Kane obviously in a previous episode, he's had like a stack of photographs, and he has one. He looks longingly at them. I don't know why he feels so attached to this place. Wait, Kane wants to recreate the office. What if it's because he wants everybody to think that they actually did take off their headsets so that they don't know that they're in the circus? Why else would he be so invested? Quick note here, I realized while I was editing that these photos are not real life images like Jax's flashback was. I don't really know how that works in terms of recreating the circus, or how they even got these photos in like cartoon-ish style. Like, you can tell these are not like real life photos that were taken of the office. So I don't know what that's kind of like, or if Jax's flashback was played off like that for dramatic effect. But yeah, I just thought I'd put that in here because it does well, I mean, it's mostly just confusing me. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think about that. Anyways, back to the video. Okay, I'm gonna put that on the back burner for a second and talk about what I actually had written down. He's got these 4 new photographs that we haven't seen before. I mean, they likely could have been in the stack that he had in the other episode. We only saw like 1 of those Polaroids. He only shows 3 to Jax, and at first I was like, that's kind of weird, you leave out the 4th one that you have. But if he has like this many photographs, I guess it makes sense not to whip out like 50. like he's showing like a Pokemon binder or something. It makes sense to, I guess, to only like choose a few and show them. That makes sense. The thing is though, these photos obviously are very old. These are photos of how the office used to look, I think, when it was running. I mean, there are no people in the photos, which is kind of odd. I guess they gave him these before they cut him off, as Kane said. Who they is, I think the programmers, I don't know why they would want to cut him off, unless it's to prevent the theory that just came into my mind, that like he was trying to make it seem like people weren't in a machine. Maybe that's why they cut him off, I don't know. Maybe they gave him these few and said, here's some scenery, like this is what you are. I don't know exactly why they gave him this info, why they cut him off, don't know, but they did. And if these are new photos that he has right now, could he have gotten them from Abel? Did Abel have these photos? Maybe. There's nothing to support this, this is just a thought. This would be a thought that Abel is real. I mean, these are new photos we haven't seen, but maybe he's just been saving them. There's no proof for any of this. This is just theory. Now, the Chinese room. Obviously, it's a cool reference, but do you know what this Chinese character says right here? The one that slid under the door? Do you know what it says? Do you? Because I don't speak Chinese. But, like, what if it said Kane is super evil? Somebody translate that for me. I don't know what it says. I bet it says that Kane is evil and Abel is real. That's what I'm guessing. I think the last thing that I want to touch on today is the Ribbit mission. And obviously we see that orb, which is the cabin, and we see the Polaroid, which are the chill fellas. We've seen the words chill fellas. People thought it was chill Felix. In the mirror of that scene where Jax was abstracting, I'm pretty sure it says chill fellas. So maybe this was actually Ribbit or Cough. No, it was Ribbit. That was Ribbit, the hand. But maybe when it says chill fellows, that is Ribbit or Kaufmo or an Easter egg. I don't know. But somebody put that in the mirror, and that was on the hand here. So, not sure exactly what that means. Do they want Jax to join them? That's also like the only real theory I have that makes me think that maybe this actually was Ribbit somehow. Unless Kane knew that they were the Chill Fellas, but I think that's their group name, and I think they all knew that that's the name happening. You know what? I got no info, no evidence to back all this up. That's just my thoughts. And obviously, this I think they got into an argument. I think you can kind of hear like the argument when Jax is looking at the orb. You can kind of hear Ribbit saying some stuff, and it seems like maybe an argument, and maybe that's the last time they saw them before they abstracted. Again, nothing really to base this off of, but this is the Polaroid. This is the Polaroid that Jax was looking at. It would make sense if it's the last time he saw them, and they clearly have hot chocolate, which goes with the winter adventure. There is something to be said about the order of abstraction, and the fact that I'm not sure if the orders of abstraction have been confirmed, but it kind of seems like it went Ribbit then Kaufmo. There might have been somebody in between, but if it did go Ribbit, Kaufmo, and now Jax, maybe. Well, he was clearly on the path. Does Kane want them gone on purpose? Was there something about them that Kane absolutely did not like, and then he's going one by one through the group? I wouldn't put it past him at this point. People say he's not Am, but I think he's more like Am than we think he is. And with that, I will leave you to please comment your thoughts. This has been my rambling. I have been working so hard on coming up with theories. I've been dreaming about them. I've been thinking while at work about these theories. This is genuinely the most fun I've had with the series since Gravity Falls aired. You know, I'm getting the same feeling as when I would like punch in that code at the end of the Gravity Falls episodes, and you would find like a secret message, and it would lead to, and you know what? That's just how I feel. So thank you so much, Gooseworks, for creating another chance for us to do this, and maybe a chance for new people that were too young at the time, didn't watch Gravity Falls growing up, to have this excitement. Because if you're watching this video, and if you're still here, obviously this means a lot to you. I will likely make another of these videos when episode 8 comes out, and I am so excited. I'm so excited to see if any of this was real. If anything I said was real, I'll catch you then. And if you're watching this like right before episode 8 comes out, I will be live on Twitch. I will be live right after episode 8 comes out, and we will be talking about it. So if you're watching way in the future, come check us out, and let me hear your thoughts. Let me hear your thoughts regardless. This has been very fun, and now I've got to clean up my kitchen, so I'll see you guys later.